Okay, so we are very fortunate to be here tonight, the night before B'dikas Chametz, and it's awesome. It's absolutely an amazing schos to be able to be learning Torah and to get a freedom from all of the slavery of all the preparations, all the stress of the preparations, and so it's amazing that we're able to prep ourselves to get into the spirit of Pesach, which is coming upon us, B'ezrat Hashem Yisparach. And so I want to speak tonight about the evening, about the mitzvahs that we have in the Passover Seder 2 nights from tonight, that we're going to be doing amazing amount of mitzvahs, amazing amount of things which are there's something unique about Pesach, that a lot of things going into our bodies. You know, it's the only mitzvah that we have. When we have a Beis Mikdash, then we have karbanos, is that eating is a mitzvah. But when we don't have a Beis Mikdash, the only time that there's actually a mitzvah of ingesting something is only on Pesach. And we're going to be doing a lot of mitzvahs on this night, this holy night, and the Passover Seder. And I want to try to give a certain perspective of how we can look at it and how we can make the most of it. That it should be something that's going to transform us, and really something that's going to really allow us to come out different than we came in. And that's really the most important thing. That's what it means to be growing. That's what it means to be alive. That's what it really means to be progressing in life. So I want to start by pointing to a certain idea that it says that Yetzias Mitzrayim is considered a birth. It's considered the birth of the Jewish nation. Okay? And this we find in numerous places. That first of all, that the first time that Hashem appears to Moshe Rabbeinu, that when he says to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, to come before Paro, and he says, I want you to come before Paro, and what should you tell him? The first thing you should tell him is, B'ni B'chor Yisrael, that the Jewish people are my firstborn son, that they are my child. This is the first time that Hashem is taking ownership, that He's our Father, and He's allowing us to be His children. You know, this is it's a milestone. You know, until now we were just another subject, and this is the first time that Hashem is saying that I'm willing for you to be my children. And so in a certain sense, metaphorically, that He was birthing us at that moment. But the truth is that He says this explicitly, that the Pasuk says in Navi Yechezkel, Perek Zayin. So Hashem tells us that B'yoyim Holedas Oisach, that on the day that you were born, this is referring to Yetzias Mitzrayim. B'yom Holedas Oisach, ve'ever alayich ve'erach misvaseses b'demayich ve'oimalach b'demayich chayiv ve'oimalach b'demayich chayiv. Hashem refers to us on the day that we were born and He says that I passed over you and I looked at you and I saw that you were wallowing in your blood, and I said that through your blood you will live. Through your blood you will live. And this we say this in the Passover Seder, and this is a reference to the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and this the blood of Bris Milah, the blood of Karban Pesach, that is through this blood that Hashem tells us that you look now. It looks like you're down. It looks like you're suffering. It looks like you're in pain. It looks like the blood is overcoming you. And I'm telling you, no, this is perfect. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. This is don't get put off by all the blood. That this is exactly what a birth is supposed to look like. And so the Pasuk says very clearly that Yetzias Mitzrayim was a birth. But the truth is that it's very clear that it's not just for the nation, this is also on a personal level, that Yetzias Mitzrayim, that the Passover Seder is supposed to be considered our personal birth. And so really this starts in the Mishnah. It says that the Mishnah tells us, and we say this in the Haggadah, that B'chol dor v'dor chayav adam leras atzma kilu hu yatz b'Mitzrayim. That it says in every single generation, every single person, every single one of us needs to look at themselves as if they personally left Egypt. So this is a mitzvah and common to us to look upon ourselves as if we personally left Egypt, and leaving Egypt was a birth. So then that's in other words that we are commanded to look at ourselves as if we were born today. Okay, this is that we are being birthed, that we are being born again. Okay, this is what the Seder is all about. And there's a very interesting thing I once heard from one of my Rebbeim, Nosson Ratman, that he noted that this is actually a recurring theme in the Haggadah, in that we don't really know who wrote the Haggadah. There's a tradition that it's from Eliyahu Hanavi, but we don't know who wrote it. But the Baal Haggadah, that he consistently wants it to be very clear that this is relevant to us. This is not a story from thousands of years ago. This is something for us. And we see this throughout the Haggadah. First of all, at the very beginning of Magid, in the paragraph of Avadim Hayinu, so the Haggadah says, V'ilu lo hotzianu Hashem Elokeinu miMitzrayim, if Hashem wouldn't have taken us out of Egypt, then we and our children and our grandchildren would also be slaves in Egypt. Okay, so from the very offset, so he feels the need to say that if Hashem wouldn't have done this, we would be slaves. So this, or in other words, that this is relevant to us. Okay, then if we skip a little bit further, so we come to one of our favorite paragraphs in the whole Maggid, and that is V'hisha Amda. What do we say, V'hisha Amda? V'hisha Amda l'Basenu, this promise that Hashem said He's going to take us out of Egypt, that promise, it has been standing for us. That in every single generation, that our enemies are trying to obliterate us. And it wasn't a one-time thing that the Egyptians wanted to destroy us. This is in every single generation. That Hashem saves us in every single generation. So that he's saying that this promise, that what Hashem told Abraham, that I'm going to take you out of Egypt, so this promise has stood for us even today. And Hashem consistently continues to stand by us and to save us from all of our enemies. And so that, once again, the Baal HaGadah is telling us that the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim is something which is not something in the past, it's something that is relevant to us. Now, it's actually the most explicit in when the Baal HaGadah quotes this Mishnah that we mentioned earlier, B'chol dar v'dar chayav adam l'rat et atzma ki'ilu hu yatz mitzrayim, that every single generation, every single yid needs to look at himself as if he personally left Egypt. So the Haggadah explains, Shnema v'gat levincha b'yema hu lemar b'avor zeh asher Hashem li b'tzeis mitzrayim lo yavuseinu bilvad ga'al HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem didn't just redeem our ancestors. This is literally what the Haggadah says. Ela af Isanu ga'al imayim, that Hashem also redeemed us with them. Shneimar v'Isanu hotzi misham, as it says in the Torah, that Hashem took us from there. Leman havi Isanu lasislanu sa'aras shenish balav v'seinu. So the Baal HaGadah says very clearly, it wasn't just our forefathers, it was us as well. And last but not least, in the actual bracha at the very end of Magid, so we say a blessing. And he says, Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech ha'olam, asher ge'alanu v'galos aviseinu mitzrayim. That thank you Hashem for redeeming us and for redeeming our ancestors. Like, so it's two levels, that it's not just our ancestors, it is us as well. So this is absolutely a recurring theme in the Haggadah, that he wants us to know that whatever happened to our ancestors is happening to us, and this is what we are celebrating. This is not just something that we're celebrating a historical event. This is something that Hashem wants us to know, that there's something which is going on with us. Okay, we are having our personal Pesach, and this is that from tonight, the Leil Seder, so that we are expected to have a personal Yetzias Mitzrayim, and if Yetzias Mitzrayim was a birth, so then what that means is that we are expected to be looking at ourselves as if we are being birthed again. Okay, so I want to share with you that a very beautiful idea that I heard many years ago from Shimshon Pinkus Zichron Livracha, and this is I've shared this many times, and I consider this my favorite Pesach vort. This is my favorite of all time Dvar Torah for Pesach, and that is as follows: that it says that Yetzias Mitzrayim is considered a birth. So it says in the Gemara in Nida that in every baby that there are three partners. There's the father, and there's the mother, and there's Hashem. Okay, three partners. That once there was a funny story. There was a boy in yeshiva in Torah Vodaas in Brooklyn that his father, so he wanted him to go to university, and so he came to Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, and he said, Rabbi, I appreciate all that you've done for my child, but I think it's time for him to go. I think it's time for him to leave, and I think according to Torah he should leave because it says in the Talmud that there's three partners, that there's father, the mother, and Hashem, and so it could be that Hashem wants him to stay in yeshiva, but his father and his mother want him to go to university, and so the majority rules. So we should send him to university. So So Yaakov was a very sharp man, and he said, well, I think you're making a mistake in your mathematics, because you're forgetting that inside of you, so you also have three partners inside of you, that your father and your mother and Hashem made you, and your wife. So she also has 3 parts. So the 1/3 of you actually wants him to stay in yeshiva, and 1/3 of your wife also wants him to stay in yeshiva. So, and Hashem certainly wants him to stay in yeshiva. So we have all 3/9 of Hashem, and 1/9 of yours, and 1/9 of your wife. So it's 5/9 against 4/9. So the majority actually wants him to stay in yeshiva. So I don't know if the argument if he actually stayed in yeshiva, but it certainly says the Yaakov knew how to talk to everybody the way that they need to hear. But anyway. So it says that we have 3 parts, and the Gemara goes into more detail. It says that all the white stuff, so you get from the father, and all the red stuff you get from the mother. And then what's left? You have all the white stuff. So the white stuff, that's the brains, that's the skin, that's the bones, and the red stuff is the blood and the muscles. And so what's left? What's left? You have all the white stuff. You have all the red stuff. So the only thing is you need a soul. You need a soul. So that's what Hashem comes down to bring the person to bring the baby the soul. So being that Leila Seder is a time of birth, so we need some white stuff. So where do we get some white stuff? So we have some matzahs. And so where do we get our white stuff from? We get our white stuff from our fathers. So how many fathers do we have? We have, who knows, 3? Who knows? We have we have 3 fathers. We have 3 fathers. So we have 3 fathers. We have 3 matzahs. Okay. So now we need some red stuff. Okay. So what's the red stuff that we have in the Leila Seder? We have 4 cups of wine, right? So how many? Where do we get our red stuff from? We get our red stuff from our mamas. And so how many mothers do we have? We have 4 mothers. So 4 mothers, 4 cups of wine. And so then what's left? So we have all the white stuff, we have all the red stuff. Now we just need the soul. We just need the neshama. So where do we get our neshama? Where do we get our neshama? We get our neshama from the Magid. That the Magid is that when we're talking about the story, so this is where we get our soul. Okay, so I want to try to understand this idea. I want to try to understand these 3 levels, these three steps in the process of our birth. And so first of all, let's go back to the matzah. So the matzah says that we're trying to get the white stuff, and the most important part of the white stuff is the brains. And so this is, we're getting our brains from our fathers. And what's very interesting is that of all the holidays, so Pesach is the most connected to our fathers, to our avos, of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Every single one of our avos is individually connected to the holiday of Pesach. So first of all, Avraham. So it says that the entire holiday of Pesach is corresponding to Avraham. It says that the 3 regalim are corresponding to the 3 avot. That Pesach is corresponding to, this is from Chazal, it says that Pesach is corresponding to Avraham, Shavuos is corresponding to Yitzchak, and Sukkot is corresponding to Yaakov. And so why is Avraham corresponding to Pesach? Because Pesach is the holiday of Emunah. And Avraham, he was the father of Emunah. That was his thing. He was the one that brought Emunah into the world. So his holiday is the holiday of Emunah. Okay, so Avraham is the first of the forefathers, is corresponding to the first of the holidays, of the Shalosh Regalim. Yitzchak Avinu, so what's his connection to Pesach? It's his birthday. Okay, he was born on the Leila Seder. And the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah that there's a dispute about the other avos of Avraham and Yaakov, but by Yitzchak everyone agrees that Yitzchak was born on the Leila Seder, and that Chazal learned this out from the Pasuk. It says that Hashem told Avraham through the angels that Lamoed Ashuv Elecha, that I'm going to come to you on the Moed, and Chazal understood that this is a reference to Pesach. And so Yitzchak, according to everyone was born on Pesach. And Yaakov, so what's Yaakov's connection to the Leil Seder? That actually, what was perhaps the most important day of Yaakov's life was the day that he received the brachas. And why is this the most important day in Yaakov's life? Because what was the brachas? What was the brachas of Yitzchak? Getting the blessings from Yitzchak. That was the day that it was decided that he was going to be the continuation of the Jewish people. Okay, this is when he became one of our forefathers. This is when he became that the Jewish people is going to be from him. So when was this day that he got the brachas? This was the Leil Seder. It says that Rivka, so she prepared the meal for Yitzchak, that she knew exactly what he liked, and so she said, "Bring me shnei gidayei izim, give me two goats." And Chazal say what was the two goats? One was for the korban Pesach, and one was the korban Chagiga. And this is this whole story of stealing the brachas, of becoming the continuation of the Jewish people. So this was all happening on Pesach. So the most important day of Yaakov Avinu's life was also on the Leil Seder. Okay, so this is a holiday which is very, very, very connected to our fathers specifically. And what are we receiving? What are we receiving from our fathers? So we are receiving emunah. And this is what Matza is all about. Matza is about emunah, and the Matza, the emunah of Matza is the chachma, is the wisdom, is the intellect of emunah. In other words, that the brains that we're getting from our forefathers, the brains that we're getting from Avi Yitzchak and Yaakov. So we have three matzahs because we have three forefathers, but there's another reason why we have three matzahs, and that's because the thing that we're trying to get, the thing that we're trying to receive from the matzah is this perception of life, is this understanding, is this wisdom. And Chazal tell us that there's actually three parts to our brain. That the brain is divided into three, Chachma, Bin, Vadas, Chabad. And because there's three parts of our brain, there's three parts of our ability to comprehend things. So that's why we need, for each part of the brain, we need a different part. We need a different matzah corresponding to this different element of comprehension. So why is it that we break the middle matzah into two? Because the middle matzah is corresponding to das. Okay, das is, even though it's usually counted as the third one, but it's considered in the middle, because das is the thing that is connecting between the chachma and the bina, and therefore, like in the terms of its location, it's in the middle. And das, because what is das all about? Das is all about making decisions. So because you need to make decisions, you need to have both sides in order to make decisions. That's why das, Kabbalistically, has two elements to it. It has the side of chesed, it has the side of gevurah. And that's why we divide the matzah into two. And part of it is going to be for the mitzvah of matzvah, and part of it is going to be the afikomen, which is corresponding to the korban Pesach. Okay, so this is the matzah is giving us all the different elements of our das, all the different elements of our ability to understand life with the lenses of emunah. Okay, so there's the first thing that we're trying to receive on this night. The first thing that they're trying to come out differently is with our entire perception of life, our entire perception of reality. Because the truth is that this is what emunah is all about. That emunah is not just like I believe, I decide to believe, I say I believe, that I choose to believe. The emunah is much different, is much deeper than that. Emunah is a consciousness. Emunah is that the way that I live life, the way that I experience life is through the lenses of emunah. That just like if we would for a moment imagine that really life doesn't exist. Like really, we're all just living a joke. We're all just living a dream. That there is nothing real. Or if we would for a moment imagine that really I'm that nothing I know is really true. Really, my parents are my parents, and really, my friends are my friends. I'm really just, I'm living on the Truman Show, and like nothing is real, and that is the same thing as if somebody would tell us that like there's no God, then like life would suddenly like in moments everything would just crumble. And like the entire perception of reality is through Amunah. So this is what Matza is telling us. What Matza is giving us, that the Zohar calls Matza mechla de mehemnuta. It calls it the bread of Amunah. It calls it the bread of Amunah. And so that one of the skulas of eating the matzah, that when we eat the matzah, we eat this holy matzah on the Passover Seder, so the more that we eat, so the more emunah we get. We're simply ingesting emunah. We're taking in every single bite of the matzah. So we're giving ourselves more emunah, and this is changing our chachma. This is changing our entire way of perceiving reality is changed by the fact that through every single bite, and this is really giving us the das. This is giving us the understanding of life. This is giving us the ability to make decisions in life, because really, every single decision that we're going to be making in life is dependent on, like, well, I need some context, right? Like, if you're like, I'm getting a lot of questions recently as being a rabbi, and so like almost every question. So you need to understand, like, tell me the context. Give me a little bit of background, right? So in any question you're going to have in life, so you're going to need to ask yourself, like, give me some context, give me some background, and I'll tell you what the context is. There is a God. That is the context of every single question. So that the only way that you can have das is if you have emunah. The only true das is the das of perceiving life through the lenses of that we are here for a purpose. We are here to serve our Creator. We are here for a mission. We are here to bring divinity into physicality, and everything that emunah represents. So this is the ultimate das. This is the ultimate thing which allows us to make decisions in life. So this is why. So when we eat the matzah on the Passover Seder, so this is a certain tikkun. This is a certain rectification of the sin of the Eitz HaDas. The Gemara says in two places. The Gemara says in Brachas and the Gemara says in Sanhedrin. It brings the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says that the Eitz HaDas. So, what kind of tree was it? Rabbi Yehuda says it was a wheat tree. It was a wheat tree. Okay, we discussed this a little bit on Tu B'Shvat, because before the sin of the Eitz HaDat, so wheat actually grew on a tree, and it was only as a result of the sin that the main nourishment of human beings changed from something that grew on the tree to something that grew from the ground, right? Because really the biggest difference between things that grow on trees and things that grow on the ground is really that things that grow on trees are human food, and things that grow from the ground is animal food. And so part of the curse was that our nourishment should be from the things that grow on the ground. It should be animal food instead of human food. But really chita was something which grew on trees, because it was really something more elevated. And so according to Rabbi Yehuda, so he says that because the Eitz HaDas was actually something was actually from wheat. So he says that this fits with a statement of Chazal that it says Ein tinok yodea likrais abba ve'ima asher toyim time dagan, that a baby, so he's not able to recognize to call out Abba Ima. He can't call out Abba Ima until he tastes grain. And that's what Chazal said. There's something special about eating grain that helps in the growth process of a child, and that allows him to call out Abba and Ima. So metaphorically speaking, so through our eating dagan, through our consuming the matzah, which is our grains of this night, so this gives us the das Ein Adam Yodea, ein Tinok Yodea. A person is not Yodea. The person doesn't have the das, doesn't have the understanding to call out Abba, to call out to Hashem, to recognize that Hashem is actually my father, to recognize that this is really the context of my entire existence until he's time dagan, until he eats the matzah. Okay, so it's through the matzah that we're able to gain this perception of life, this perception that God is real, this perception that we are here on a mission, and that is the ultimate das. This is the das, meaning the middle matzah, which is the mitzvah of matzah, which we're trying to do. So this das is we're consuming this matzah in order to give us the das, which is the das of emunah. Okay, so part of what we're trying to appreciate through this, when we're eating the matzah, is first of all, we want this to transform us. We want this to give us the consciousness of God. We want us to really to come out of this experience knowing that God is real, knowing that our existence and our mission is actually something which is not something we're just telling ourselves. This is the actual reality. This is to really live it and to really be conscious of it. And not only that, but to be a little bit appreciative of the fact that we're getting this from our fathers. Okay, to understand that our emunah is not something that we need to create. It's not something that we need to discover because it's already there. Okay, and to appreciate the fact that this is something that just needs to be woken up. It doesn't need to be built. It doesn't need to be to be put together. That it's something that's in our DNA. And the understanding that emunah is in our DNA, that it's in our tradition, it's in what we are. That it's something that we received. So it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier. It gives us, first of all, it makes it less stressful. It gives us the understanding that we just need to look deeper inside of ourselves. We don't need anything from the outside. We just need to be more in touch with ourselves, and we'll pick it up. And secondly, it gives us a little bit of humility, because to know that it's just who I am. If somebody just is very talented about something, they never worked on it, and they have a certain ability to play piano. They're just good looking. There's just somebody compliments you. They said, okay, whatever. That's just the way I am. There's nothing so egotistical about that. You can't be egotistical about something that you just received from your ancestors. So the fact that our emunah is something that is just part of who we are, so then it's something that we don't have to make such a big deal about. It gives us a certain more appropriate stance in life, which is the place of humility. And so to understand that, number one, that we have this emunah, and number two, that emunah is something that it's there inside of us. It's something that we received. It's something that it's our birthright. It's literally our birthright. We are born with it. We're born with this ability to connect, with this ability to perceive reality through the lenses of emunah. So this is something that we should be thinking about as we're eating this matzah on the Passover Seder. That there's a pasuk that's it talks about Hashem betrothing the Jewish people, and so guys say this every time when we put on tefillin. So when we put the three wraps around the middle finger, so it says Ve'erastich li li'olam, ve'erastich li b'tzedek of mishpat v'chesed v'rachamim, ve'erastich li be'emunah v'yadatas Hashem. So this is like the Mefarshim say that it's like that when we're wrapping the tefillin around our finger, it's like Hashem it's Hashem betrothing us. It's Hashem giving us a wedding ring, and He's marrying us, so to speak. And so the last verse is Ve'erastich li be'emunah v'yadatas Hashem. That Hashem says, I will betroth you with emunah, and you will know me. You'll know God. So it uses the term of knowing, of da'as, together with emunah. That the essence of emunah is really knowledge of Hashem, and so the da'as that we're trying to connect with through the matzah, that the matzah which is giving us da'as, which is the white stuff that we're getting from our fathers. So what is the essence of this white stuff? What is the essence of the da'as? The da'as is emunah. Okay, so this is the first thing that we're trying to get for this evening, is to get the brains, to get the understanding, and And this is the first step in what it means to be born. We're trying to be born on this night of the Seder. So now we move on to the second piece.
Sorry, can I also ask real fast? Did you say that it's the tikkun for the Eitzadas though?
Yes. Yes, the part of eating the matzah is to correct the mistake of the Eitzadas. And the way that we fix this is through this matzah. That if they would have had more emunah, then they wouldn't have sinned with the Eitzadas. And so eating the matzah is correcting this and bringing us back closer to that stage of before the mistake. Okay, so now we move to the second part, the second element of the Seder, and that is the red stuff. And the red stuff is, of course, the bottle of the 4 cups of wine. And we said that where do we get the red stuff from? We get the red stuff from our mothers. So we have 4 mothers and 4 cups of wine. Okay, so what is the red stuff? What is the wine representing? So when Chazal say that we get the red stuff from our mothers, so what are they referring to? Most importantly, they're referring to our blood. Okay, and of course that there's a mitzvah to try to get some Palestinian blood for the 4 cups of. See if the haters find this video and then blow it up and get lots of publicity. So the blood and the heart, obviously. So the heart and the blood. So what does this represent? Now this is the heart and the blood that it represents. It represents the emotions. Okay, it's not enough to be close to Hashem with your head. You have to be close to Hashem with your heart as well. Okay, and it's a very interesting thing that, like, it's an international kind of symbolism that the heart, like how do you say I love you? Like there's it's understood that a heart is love. Like even though everyone knows that like a heart is just a muscle. You know, there's nothing emo about the heart. That it's like there's no difference between your biceps and your heart. There's no feelings in your heart. So where did the symbolism come from? Yes, I once heard a very deep thing. That is that what's interesting about the heart is that in your heart there is a physical representation of what's going on inside of you. Okay. In other words, that when we get anxious, so sometimes our heart will beat very fast, and it's through our circulatory system that there is a physical expression of what's going inside of our minds. Okay, and so this is precisely what emotion is. That emotion is that it's a mediator between our minds and our physiology. Is our emotions. It's on the one hand, it's inside of us. On the other hand, we feel it. We actually feel when somebody is angry, they feel angry. When a person is scared, they feel scared. And there's something that it's not a feeling the way that if somebody punches you, you feel that. It's not a feeling like the feeling of hot water, but it's a real feeling. It's very, very different than a thought. You don't feel a thought in any way. You just think a thought. and so a feeling is something that you can feel, and even though it's just a feeling, right? So that's why the emotions is actually this medium between the physiology of a person and the thoughts of a person, and that is itself is expressed in the circulatory system. It's that on the one hand it's something which is inside of you, on the other hand you're very aware of it. Okay, so this is where this symbolism comes, that the heart is representing the emotions, and so Chazal are telling us that this is something that the emotions, our emotions of Hashem, emotions of Judaism, our emotions of life, are something that we're receiving from our parents, from our mothers, and specifically, the emotion that we're supposed to be feeling at the night of the Seder is the emotion of Chairut. of redemption. And this is a very specific redemption, a very specific emotion. So the what does it mean? What does it mean to be free? So this is being free is not just the perception of life. Okay, if you don't feel free, you're not free. Okay, a person can know that he's free. If he doesn't, freedom is by definition something that a person needs to actually feel. Okay, and this is often the biggest hurdle in life, is that I know a lot of things with my brain. I have all the right perceptions in life. I just don't feel it. I don't feel it, and it's and this is a problem. A person can know everything about Judaism, and they know that it's all real, and know that it's all exciting, and just doesn't feel it. A person could be trapped in some addiction, and know that he has the power. I know that I do have free will. I know that I could do this, and I just don't feel it. I feel like I'm just a little child. I feel like I'm powerless. I feel like I can't do anything. I feel stuck. And I know in my head that this is absurd. I know in my head that doesn't make any sense. And yet I don't feel free. And so freedom is something that if you're not going to feel it, then it's worthless. It's like it's as if you're not free. If you're not feeling the freedom, then you're actually not free. And so this the emotion that we're trying to get through is of this night of the Seder is the emotion of freedom, and that's why the Arba Kaisis. So the mitzvah of the Arba Kaisis is specifically the Keneged. It's corresponding the 4 lashonot of Geula, the 4 expressions of redemption, because that every step of this process, every step of feeling redeemed is something that it's bringing us closer to this emotion of being free. So this is something that we receive from our mothers, because the feminine energy is an energy of feeling, okay, as opposed to the masculine energy, which is more of an energy of understanding and analyzing, and so what we get from our mothers is that the ability to live life from a place of intuition, the ability to live life that I'm feeling that this is right, I'm feeling that Judaism is real, I'm feeling connected, and to know that it's not enough without this, and a person needs a father and needs a mother. Not if we're allowed to say this in 2026, and that one without the other is really not enough. And we need the perception, we need the understanding in our minds, we need the das that we get from the matzah. But if you just have the matzah, then it's going to be very bland, very dry, very bland. And so it's through these 4 cups of wine that we get saturated with the samuna. We get excited about the muna. We get really present. Like wine actually has a power to make a person much more present and much more feeling things. People get much more excited when they're affected by alcohol. And this is part of what the 4 cups of wine is trying to bring us, is trying to remind us that emunah is not just something in our heads. This is something in our hearts. This is something that we're actually feeling. Actually very, 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 very present in the fact that we're in love with this and we're very excited about this. And it's something that we take seriously because it actually matters. Not something that's just, it's I know it's true. I know it in my heart that it's true. Okay, and this is the 4 cups of wine. And finally we come to the Magid. So the Magid, we've spoken about this before, that in the Torah, so the mitzvah of Magid is called Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's called telling a story. And so Magid needs to be spoken out. That's why ideally you shouldn't be doing a Seder alone. Okay? It says that it should be question and answer, that it needs to be a discussion. And so what's special about Magid is, we said that Magid is connected, Magid is corresponding to the 4th part, to the 3rd part of the baby, which is Hashem's part, which is the soul, which is the neshama. We're trying to get ourselves in neshama, to get in touch with our neshama, that our neshama should be birthed on this night. So the Magid is all about expression. And a person can can know everything that he's supposed to know and feel everything that he's supposed to feel, and yet it's all I'm good. I can keep it to myself, and that's a person that's not in touch with their neshama, because one of the facets of a neshama is a neshama needs expression. Neshama, I need to exist. I need to be present. And the neshama is not just about my thoughts, not about my emotions. It's about my very essence, about my very existence. And this is the ego in a good way. That my presence in life is something that I need to be present. And this is one of the most basic human needs is to feel present and to feel expressed and to feel that like I'm not just to myself and I matter and people care about me and I'm there in the world. And that's why it's through speech. It's through speech that we have a presence in society. Okay? And this is this is of course why that when it says in the Torah that Hashem gave a soul to Adam, so it says Vahi Adam nefesh chaya, that Hashem gave him a nefesh, and Targum Onkelos is, what's it mean? Nefesh, it says ruach memalala, that he was speaking, that his nefesh was that he was able to speak. And this is one of the things that distinguishes between human beings and animals is in the level of intelligent conversation. That even though animals are able to connect, but expression is something that animals are not capable of doing. That there's no kind of chimpanzees that can write beautiful poems, that can write music. The concept of expression is something which is uniquely human, and this is what Tzipur Seyas Mitzrayim is all about. That when I come to the Seder and say that that everything I know and everything I feel, so let's talk about it. I want this to be. I want to have a conversation, and I want to be present in the conversation. There's like in a lot of families they have a custom that like you go around and everybody reads a paragraph and it's not supposed to be that everybody is like one person is saying and everybody else is listening. That like in my family, so we all say it together. We all like this is a very Israeli conversation. That everybody's talking at the same time, and that part of what it means to have a soul is that it's not just sitting on the inside. That I'm sharing it with the rest of the world. So this is what we're trying to accomplish on this holy night of the Leil Seder, that we're trying to understand that this birth of Klal Yisrael is something which is happening to every single one of us, and that we have the ability to come out of this night brand new people that never existed before, like a new baby, like a new creation, something that is breakthrough, and then so this is the Torah gives us the ability to connect to all the different elements of being born, and to appreciate that we have parents, to appreciate that we have ancestors, to appreciate that we don't have to pave the way to Hashem the way that Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did, to appreciate that we have this amazing tradition, to appreciate the fact that we're just continuing the flame, that we're receiving this torch from the people before us, and to appreciate the fact that we have an amazing perception of life, and a perception of emunah, and the das of the matzah, and the emotion of the wine, and the expression of neshama. So I bless us all that we should mamish be able to connect to all the different elements of this rebirth b'ezrat Hashem, and we should come out of this that our soul is so yearning to just explode with all of our new perceptions, that when we get to the end of the Hallel, with the end of the Seder, we get to the Hallel, so we should mamish, that we should be able to just be breaking out in song, breaking out in this need that the entire world should know how awesome Hashem is. B'ezrat Hashem. Chag Sameach.